audience. That's the worst.
I know, sorry. Um, anyway, they're outside of the box. And what the rest of the party doesn't realize, but Orkilia already knew, is that Grym was able to change form. And he became an adult red dragon. And Ellie has climbed onto his back, and they are flying towards the mountains, over the pathless swamps, over the Thorian armies, over the miasma, everything, just heading towards the mountains, kind of without a care in the world. And for the very first time in 700 years, the shadow of a dragon crosses the land beneath it. But that's not where we're going to start today. Instead, we're going to start in the box.
In the box.
What's
In
in
the
the
box.
box?
What's in the
What's in
box?
the box?
I think it's more like who's in the box.
Who's in the box?
All right. So now, who's in the box? Um, you guys went down there. There had been rather a massive explosion.
Ooh, one of you's gotta mute. Sorry.
That is a massive echo.
Yeah, that's because Alex is in the same room with me.
Oh.
I was hoping that my mic would be able to phase it out, but it doesn't. Anyway, by the time you guys all got back into the box, there's no sign of an explosion, except for the traumatized two surviving elves and the very drunken hobbit that were left down in there. But the scorching, the burning, all of that stuff, that's gone. And once again, the main room, looks like beautiful soft couches with blankets, and the side is with tables filled with food, and it's lovely and inviting as if nothing had happened, um, except that there is a body still in there, and that is the body of the oldest of the elven components, which died in the explosion as he was sleeping. At least it was a quiet passing for him. Um, the teenage elf is dressed in early goth Edward Scissorhands right at the moment, and he keeps looking around as you guys all come in one by one. He keeps looking and saying, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," over and over again, like the what he's looking for, it's not seeing.
Oh, my
And he
baby boy.
seems pretty inconsolable, actually. Um, the child, uh, we already know what that does. It goes instantly to cross, holding its little hands up to be picked up. Still nonverbal. Um, Auntie Moggs is snoring on the table, and she finally snorts as the sounds and sits up and is like, "Oi, what are you all doing waking me up?" And that is where we are right now. What do you do? Oh, Aramiel, he'll go first. He says, "I'm very tired." And you can tell that he's just kind of simmering and angry, and he's trying to get control of it. And so he turns and he looks at the wall, and sure enough, one of the panels looks more like a doorway. And he goes and he opens it, goes into whatever room he has thought of, and slams the door behind him. And you have the sense that he's going to go sleep or simmer, one of the two, or maybe both at the same time. Anyway, what do the rest of you do?
Like, what's crawling up in his knuckers? No,
I think we all
um,
know.
oh God, do we want to? So
Snickers?
Cross is going to obviously, since I guess the child is beckoning, he will take it, and he's just gonna sit down because he just got. I think he feel after that talking to by Grym, the confidence he felt when Grym was just like get in the box. Cross actually feels pretty good. Like he feels kind of calm. He's like stuff's being taken care of, which for once actually hasn't really happened. In the way that I think he wishes. Like Cross has always been like shit. Stuff's always felt a little bit like haphazard, and now he feels like he can just sit back and be like, "Hey, stuff stuff's being done. I don't have to do anything. And so he's just gonna kind of sit back and attempt to take care of the child.
And the child seems very happy with that. It's clinging to you. Um, but once it's got you and your arms around it and stuff, uh, this little elven boy feels safe enough to start looking around and kind of um, taking in everything again, with some curiosity even. At one point, he points towards uh, the wardrobe where the cleaning box and the robes and everything are hanging, and he looks at you and goes, like, maybe he might like new clothes, or maybe he's curious about what's over there, or I mean, he's wearing the equivalent of a burlap sack.
This is true. If Penny can have gets to have a what do we call it, a makeover, I think the child, I guess, deserves something. So Cross will make his way over to the the wardrobe, kind of almost like he's like, I know, like, because like the place is pretty magical, but he's also just like, it's only had like adult clothing, so he's kind of almost just like, is it gonna, like, a little bit skeptical, like, is it gonna just manifest like child-sized clothes, but he's thinking about it because he knows that's what he needs to, and so he's gonna make his way towards the wardrobe and see what he can acquire.
Okay, you go to the wardrobe and you open it, and clearly the wardrobe was not listening to your thoughts about clothing,
Oh, no.
because what it manifests is a soft, beautiful child-size robe, just the right size, and it is much like Joseph's coat of many colors.
Oh, no.
One sleeve is blue, one sleeve is green, one sleeve is purple, one sleeve has animal prints on it and stuff. Just like anything this child might imagine maybe at some point that it wanted. Probably watched from the mages that had it there in their menagerie. But yeah, it's like bright, bright colors, but it fits just right.
Ooh.
Cross is thinking to himself, he's like, God damn it, not another artist. I'm just kidding.
We have a bard in training.
Yeah, not another bard in training. No,
If
no,
and because the child has all of its fingers and toes.
I think he's the only I think fully together I don't want to even call it I didn't even want to call it a component. It's the only altogether elf we have, right? Or even just like non-human creature, right?
Actually, in the parts that you could see outside of the burlap sack, yes. Once you take that off to put on the robe, you can see that there are pieces of skin crisscrossing its back that are missing, that have been scabbed over and stuff, but they leave that divot. You know how it is when a lot of the exterior layers of the dermis. I asked that like you guys know. You guys all know how it is when dermis has been removed, right?
I know what a dermis is.
Oh,
What's a dermis?
look, I'm looking at our chat, and we got our first spammer.
Woo, go spam, go!
We've arrived.
Woo!
We have arrived. We are finally successful.
Wow.
Okay, but going on with the story. Anyway, Cross, you and the child become enamored, and when you put the clothes on, it's touching it because it's soft silk, and it's just a smile. There's a smile. That's the first time.
I guess just to describe, like, I feel like Cross is almost going into like a mode that I don't even think he knew was possible for himself, but he's being very like, I guess the best way I can describe is almost kind of like, because I feel like this is the relationship between him and this right now, is literally like the Mandalorian and and Grogu. It's just like he didn't know he had it in him, but he's just like he's now finally like kind of like he sees it's enjoying the clothing. He's smiling. He's like almost kind of like playing with him, like like with his hand, like touching his fingers and like playing with him and like almost kind of like the way this is happening is just like he doesn't. It's almost like nobody else is there. It's just him and this child, and he's lost himself in it. Like he's actually having fun and smiling, and it's something I don't think anyone's ever actually really seen Cross do that wasn't in a sarcastic manner.
Yep. And
Penny's watching this, and she's gonna be like to Jasmine, I think Cross is mad.
Mad? Why? That looks happy to me.
But he doesn't. It doesn't.
He turned his frown upside down.
I don't understand. But this does.
It's a smile. Do you? I guess you haven't had much to smile about up until now, have you?
What?
It's a smile. Yes. Yeah. Like this. Like, yeah. 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 See, you keep doing it, you'll get better at it.
Smile.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
a
you
little
don't
voice comes
have
from
to
behind
smile
you
to be
and
happy.
says, come over here and have a little bit of this wine and you'll be smiling a lot. Come here, lad. Come here, Auntie Mog says, have some wine. Do what you're told.
Okay.
And Jasmine, you turn and see, I don't know if you saw one of all the components before they came in the box. This one is a hobbit who is blind, has bandages over her eyes and one arm missing, much like Penny, amongst other things. Lots of clearly been used as a component quite a bit. Sitting on the table where she had managed to avoid the blast by crawling under a bowl to go into a drunken sleep. Now she's there popping grapes into her mouth and patting her way around the thing looking for various pieces of alcohol. Like maybe she never is going to stop. She's just going to be stuffing herself and drinking for the next couple of years. Who knows? But Penny, she did call you.
She's
Okay.
making up for lost time. Good for her.
And says, and you there, the pretty lass. I'm assuming you're pretty because your voice sounds pretty.
I was going to ask because you can't see me, but yes.
Oh, you'd be right. You'd be
Uh-huh, okay.
surprised what I can see. But I want you to come here too.
Oh, all right. Why?
Oh, come here and I'll tell you.
She moves over. Sure. How can I help you?
All right. Oh, come here. Come down here. You reach down and she reaches out and she touches around until she touches your face.
Mm-hmm.
And then your lapels, and then she grabs your lapels and pulls you right up to her. And with her blind bandaged eyes, she says, I can smell it on you. I can smell the magic on you. And if you so much as lay a finger on any of these that save me, well, I have my ways. And I'll make sure that you don't have that pretty nose anymore, or those pretty eyes anymore, or that, I'm assuming you have ears somewhere in there and all that hair, but you won't have those anymore. Do you understand me?
Of course I understand you, and I have no intention of harming anyone.
Swear it.
I swear it.
Swear it on magic.
I swear it on magic.
Castration.
All right. But I mean it. All right, where's that ale? And she crawls off along the table looking for more drink and leaves the two of you behind.
All right. Well, that was interesting.
It's okay. She won't kill you. Probably.
Well, yeah, I do not want to get on her bad side. I understand. But I really don't mean to harm anyone here.
There was one time when they took her out of the cage and she bit this guy in the arm and took out this huge chunk of his skin. And then I think she spit it out, but I don't remember. It was very bloody, but it was like big. And then she was kicking, and I think she gouged one of them in the eye. It was pretty,
Good for her.
yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't think she's come from a very pleasant place.
Oh, I came from a very pleasant place originally. You hear the voice from the end of the table. It shouts back, "And why are you talking about me as if I'm not here? Just 'cause I can't see doesn't mean I can't hear." Oh my God, these people, they never taught any manners and
You
stuff. I
seemed
was
a
raised
little
in a
busy.
box. I will be in a moment. And then she crawls under the table with a bottle in her hand, and you can no longer see her.
Mm.
You can hear the sounds of the slurping, though.
Okay, so we know where she is.
Yeah.
That's
Penny,
good.
I'm gonna peek under the table at her. And then sit up. Do you want some?
I think I'm going to pass on the wine, but some tea would be lovely right now.
There's tea right at the end of the table. Oh, and it's hot and it's fragrant. In fact, it's just your favorite kind.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've had this. And she goes to the back of the table and she pours herself a
Nice hot cuppa.
nice little teacup of, yes.
What is that?
I suppose it's a form of jasmine tea. Jasmine tea. Jasmine tea. Yes, me tea. Yes, jasmine. Jasmine tea. Yes. It's very fragrant, and I find it a very relaxing scent.
Penny goes and she like, and then she takes a finger and she sticks it in.
It's hot, but you could have this one if you would like. There's plenty. She passes the teacup to Penny. You might want to wait until it cools down a little.
Okay.
And she pours herself another teacup. Oh, so we sit here and we wait.
I'm sorry for kidnapping you.
Well, I really didn't have anywhere else to be when it comes right down to it, so I suppose it all worked out in the end.
Yeah. You're nice.
Well, thank you. You're nice too.
Thank you. We're not monsters.
I didn't think you were. Yeah. There's a lot wrong with this world. A lot. I spent most of it trying to tutor people so they would understand things from books and make better decisions. But, well, that didn't last as long as I hoped.
What happened?
Well, the village got destroyed, as you saw. So,
Oh,
that's where I was tutoring.
where were you before that? What is tutoring?
Teaching. I was teaching people how to read and write. I could teach you if you want to know, if you don't already know.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I can write.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
We're
hear
not
you.
hearing you.
Sorry.
You didn't notice this before, but over on a side table behind you, as you just glance around, Jasmine, oh, there's your books, or your favorite ones that you used to use for teaching.
This box is perfect, isn't it? My goodness. All right. Well, I actually have found some of the materials that I use to teach my students in the village. So, sure. And she will settle down with Penny at a couple of chairs and find some writing implements and sort of help her start to form letters and start the lessons. It's something to do.
While we're doing that, Penny's gonna look at the books and go and think really hard about maybe if she can think of any book that she's seen before or that she wants or anything, and see if it shows up.
Not hearing you.
Sorry.
Ah, okay. Roll me an intelligence check.
Intelligence. Oh god, I didn't put off the dice. Oh, sorry, 1 second. 2 seconds. Oh god. Don't fail me. Ooh, okay. Add the numbers. 1 second. Sorry, rush. 19.
Okay. Well, with that good roll, you do get something.
Woo.
It's you get and it's just a flash. It goes through your head, and you're not sure if it's a memory or if it was a dream or if it was just a fantasy, a daydream that you had sometime. But there's a book. It's a big black book, and you know that it's bad, but you're reaching for it anyway. And that's it. It's just a little flash.
Does the book show up?
Hmm?
Does the book show up in the box?
No.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah, some magic is stronger than the box.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just a dream. Maybe it's not a real book.
Mm.
And you do that, and you do that, and sure enough, a black book shows up on the corner of a table that looks on the outside just like that.
But it's gonna be empty. I'm sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every page is blank because so is your memory.
Oh. I'm gonna take that black book, and with the pens and stuff as you're showing me, that's what I'm gonna be writing in.
Okay, now you got
full of random
nice
scribbles.
evil black primer. Great. And now we will leave everybody in the box having a sense of peace for the first time.
Not looking at that cover.
Yeah, for the first time since this whole shebang began, since the miasma first invaded their camp, this
Really-
group is having
really-
a moment of peace and quiet.
Yeah. Sorry, really quick. After learning for a little while, will there be enough time for Penny to do like a 4-hour meditation?
I will see what happens when we're up top.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. All right, back to Orkilia and Grym.
And I hope they're having a good time in there.
I'm sure
Okay.
they're doing well.
The wind feels so good under your wings, Grym. Oh, it's been way too long. It's been way too long since you've been able to have complete and utter freedom in flight.
Oh my boy.
Now you need a little Orkilia to go on it.
I
Oh my
thought
God.
about that earlier. I looked at all my little things. Like, do I have anything? No, the closest I had was like a Morty, and that's not
We're
correct.
gonna-
Not quite
find
the same. And it's as you're flying over. How high up are you flying?
Well, Grimm wanted to try and get up high enough that people couldn't really tell what he was.
All right.
So pretty high.
Okay. So by the time you get high enough for that to be the case, Orkilia, you are very cold, and the air is very thin. And roll me a Constitution check.
Whoa, great. Off to a great start. Okay, well, that's not too bad on the die. Constitution, that's 17.
Okay. Yeah, you're holding it together, but if he goes any higher, or if this goes on too long, hypothermia and unconsciousness may ensue.
And there's a little tap, 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 tap.
Yeah?
Hey, buddy, a little lower. I can't really breathe.
Oh.
And it's really cold.
Oh, okay, well, try and hold on tighter to me. Like put yourself against my back more.
Sploot.
He'll dip down a little bit,
Okay.
but Grym is just naturally
Warm.
warm.
Yeah.
So
Well, so she's just full on flat.
Yeah, and it's actually almost uncomfortably warm, but it's warm. Now, if only there was oxygen attached to that, that would be
Yeah.
great.
well, he did go
Down a little bit.
lower.
Yep, and stuff. So you're going to have to make constitution saves every now and again for the
Great.
oxygen, just because, but being a little bit lower, depending on what's happening or who's looking, you might be recognized. But I mean, you're going over the pathless in the mountains. So far as you're aware, you can't see a lot of what you would call villages or towns from this height.
Right.
Either just like they can't see you, you can't see them.
And we're headed for the mountains.
You're headed for the mountains. Yep. And you make a good clip for a while before you start getting tired. What's your constitution?
My constitution is 16.
Roll me a constitution save. Or check, I guess would be more the thing.
Well, I rolled a 19, so that's 22.
Okay. You haven't been in the air for too long. That human form, it's fun, it's interesting, but it's so restricting. And so you're going and going, and you're finding the right air currents, and you feel for a while as if you could go all day. And by the time you finally start getting tired, the foothills of the mountains are right below you. You've made it that far. You've made it clear across the pathless. But now you're starting to get tired, and you start to see the sun beginning to dip,
Okay.
behind you.
I'll try to gently glide down.
Okay. Are you looking for any kind of specific place or kind of terrain?
I'm looking for stability.
Okay.
So, like, not on loose shale.
Right.
Trying to find somewhere that, like, maybe we could even camp.
Okay. Well, probably the safest places for something like that would be where there are trees anchoring the soil. And you'll notice that on the foothills, there's not so much in the way of trees as it's going from marsh to scrub. But as you get a little higher, there are forests on the side of the mountains. And you could, there's not a lot of clearings, but with a good, some good luck, you might find one. Oh, sure enough, there's one right there. A nice clearing that you could land in partway up the first mountain.
How's that look, Orkelia, right there?
Thanks,
You see what the
anything
big
that
claw-
makes it so I'm not on the air anymore. Okay, thanks.
Sure, okay.
Yeah,
You
Orkelia.
all right?
No. I am not all right. Haven't you heard? I've been silent for like hours.
I
When
know,
have
I thought
ever
you wanted to keep me
silent?
company.
What?
I thought you wanted to keep me company, and you just...
Yes, you are not wrong. I will always keep you company. Also, I don't breathe air like you do. I want to.
We're much lower now.
Yeah, now it's getting better as he's coming in for a landing.
So listen,
Uh-huh.
there's this thing. It's called oxygen. And people like me from this plane of reality need a lot more of it than I think you do in this form. It's okay. I'm okay.
Oh,
But it's cold up there. You're very warm. It's cold up there, and there's very little oxygen. So, like, next time, could we just a little lower, a little lower?
Well, I mean, I didn't want anybody seeing, well, me.
Yeah, no, you got to flip a coin on that one, And I was tied on, so like if I fell, it would have been fine. It would have sucked, but it would have been fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. We're good.
Okay.
Roll me an insight check, Grym.
Oh boy, insight.
Please tell me that's your dumb stat.
I had a 13 on the die, so that's 15. It's 15. That's not bad.
Okay, you're noticing Orkilia's eyes are very wide, and her fists are very clenched, and you're not really quite sure what that means.
Uh, are you angry?
I mean, anger is such a strong word. I'm not happy.
Okay. Well, what could I do to bring you happiness?
What a great question. I'm so proud of you, my dude. Listen, have we landed yet?
Probably close to.
Yeah, not quite, but very close. You can see he's swooping in on a clearing in the forest up here.
Listen,
There's
all we
no
gotta
snow
do, all we gotta do is land. Maybe we can eat something. And then I should be fine.
Okay. Should I get some firewood so
Yeah,
we can camp out?
that'd be great. Firewood would be great.
So Grym just starts slashing at branches.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That was
So
not how
all
I
these
expected
wonderful
that to get
green
out.
trees are leaving their wonderful green branches on the ground.
I mean, not all of them, just
No.
enough. Like one side of one tree. That should be enough.
Yeah, if it burns.
Yeah.
It'll burn.
Um, anyway, so you land, and you land, you tear the trees down. Orkilia, you have never been so glad to have solid ground under your feet in your entire life.
Land.
Even that terrible ocean cruise around to get over to the Misculus thing from the mainland, that was bad. This was worse. But
I'm learning a lot about myself on these various trips. Moral of the story is I do not travel well, which is hilarious because I travel a lot. It's fine. It's fine. I'm good.
maybe it's a bit of inner masochism. Who knows?
Grym tries to put the wood together, like in one spot. How's this? Should I light that?
Maybe we should light like a little less because we don't really want. If there's anyone around, we don't necessarily want people to know that we're here.
Big claw comes down, takes part of it away.
Mm-hmm.
How about
It's not
that?
terrifying at all. Well done.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Everything's
Like
great.
a giant puppy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, a puppy that you go face to face with like his elbow.
Yeah. And I'm a big person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great.
Okay, stand back.
Huh?
And he just inhales and breathes fire on what's left.
Okay. With that kind of an intro, you inhaled. Oh, it felt so good. Oh, it felt so good. It felt, and then you have to release that, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it felt so good. And Orkilia, from your vantage point, what you see is this little pile of wood and this massive amount of fire. And roll me a check to see if you set the forest on fire.
What? Okay.
What check would that be?
Well,
Actually, you know what? Let's do luck.
Oh no.
Tell me high or low.
okay.
God.
Low.
I rolled a 5.
Oh my god.
No,
Oh, wait,
what
no,
that
it's
made. Yeah.
Shit.
So the fire, it comes out, and almost instantly, it's so hot. I mean, it's dragon fire. Come on. It's so hot, it sets the little tiny campfire complete. It's gone in an instant. It just like consumes it, and that fire is hungry, and you can see it just rolling out past there. And you try to cut it off, Grym, really, but it's kind of too late. You know, it felt so good. And it goes out, and that ring of trees around the edge of the clearing on that side, they start to combust. and the brush begins to combust. And the snow is a little ways away, so nothing's stopping it for a little while. And the fire begins heading up the mountain.
Oops.
You don't have like a water version of that, do you?
No.
What if you peed on it?
Let me try. And he takes off, and he will try to.
Pee on the
He'll try and pee on the fire. He tries to fly ahead of it, and let go.
Roll me a pee on it check.
What do you want for that? Dexterity? I don't know.
I don't know what that means. You're muted again, Tanya.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Tanya.
Sorry. Yeah, dexterity.
Dexterity?
Yeah, I mean, how many men do you know that miss?
I'm going to use the dragon die.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, dragon guy, go. Please tell me it was like a nat 20 or nat bad. One or the other.
No, it was a 16.
It's not even that you miss, it's come out shooting that direction.
Wait, Alex, say all that again. We can't hear you.
Okay.
That's a 16. So, well, with Dex.
With Dex.
17.
A 17. All right. Well, it doesn't do quite as well as you might hope. But it does seem to temper things. The fire does still, I mean, because it's a wide swath now, because your breath comes out in a cone. And the pee, you kind of run out by a certain amount of time, there's only so much you can hold at a moment. And you do manage to get about 2/3 of the fire out, but that last third's still going.
Which direction is that third going?
As fire always does, uphill.
But
it's kind of going up to the east.
I
Well, that was
tried.
all the ideas I had.
Grym comes back like, I got nothing left.
You gotta drink more water, man.
I hadn't had that much time. I mean, we were in the air.
I really don't know what to do from now. Like, I don't know. Can you scoop up a bunch of snow and just dump it? Like,
Maybe like if I knock down a set of trees beyond where the fire is. Hold on.
wait, no more trees. There's no catch more
Wait.
fire. What are you doing? Stop it!
Too late?
Right.
Okay.
He's excited. He's trying to do the right thing.
Okay, so you fly up and you head just beyond this little path of fire that's beginning to expand, and how do you knock down the trees?
I try to get like the equivalent of 2 trees ahead of where the fire is and knock those towards the fire.
Okay, have you ever seen a forest fire in action?
Grym hasn't because he's never seen a forest.
But you, Chris.
No.
Lives in Los Angeles. We've all seen fire.
I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
fire, but it wasn't a forest fire.
Okay, well,
I saw it on a hill.
I'm going to tell you a little tiny story because it's relevant to what I'm going to do, okay?
Okay.
There was a time where I lived 2 blocks away from the beginning of a large mountain in Utah. And one morning, I go out to my front porch, and there's this tiny little fire about halfway up. And we're like, oh, I hope somebody's called the fire department. 15 minutes later, the entire mountain is on fire, the whole side. It just moves so fast. So getting in front of it and knocking down trees into it when it moves fast, going uphill, can be a challenge. So you need to roll me a dexterity check with disadvantage.
Oh, with disadvantage.
Yep.
It's clinking. Come on. Oh, so that's a 10.
That would be, you do get, I mean, you do exactly. You get to the trees, you get to knock them into the fire, but by the time you get there, the fire's already past that point because it's moving fast. It's just, I've never seen anything like it. It's like the thing alive. So you do knock the trees into the fire, but they were already burning.
Well,
So
I
getting
mean,
ahead of it is going to be, you're going to have to, it might take a few times.
okay. Okay, he's back up then.
Okay.
So as soon as he takes off and she couldn't get through to him, Orkelia opens that box. She's going in the box because she needs to get people out.
Box.
I'm leaving it open. I'm not closing it behind me.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I'm still a dragon. Okay.
Does it automatically close?
No.
I was like, we haven't established
We
that.
closed it. We definitely closed it.
You did it, but she's opening it to go inside and leaving it open while she's inside. She can't close it behind her. You'd have to close it.
Right.
But you're busy. All right.
Yeah, it's like put down on the ground, box open, stepping in.
All right. So we go back down into the box. Everybody in the box?
We are a natural disaster.
Yeah. So Orgelia just appears in the box, super panicked. Just, who can put out a giant fire?
A what?
A giant fire! Penny, great, you're coming with me. And I grab Penny and I touch the ceiling and go back up.
So, yeah,
very
giant
quick.
fire. But if anybody wants out of the box, it's open for right
yeah.
now.
Sorry,
I'll leave the box
I'm
open too.
I want to know what the heck's going on.
Cross probably like looked up from like his happiness to like be like, oh, Arkelia, and then she's gone. He was like, okay. And
He could stay in the box and be happy.
Been there.
Yeah, just be happy in the box of
Yeah.
happiness and joy.
Okay.
Be happy.
So we
Okay.
reach back
can
up.
solve some problems without Cross.
She often does.
Oh. All right. So now everybody's coming out of the box except for one very relaxed and happy, formerly tense dude. And you get out of the box. When you get out of the box, what you see is that you are on the side of a mountain, up to the tree line, where there's forest now, but not to the snow line because the snow line's quite a ways away. And it's a nice clearing, and one side of the clearing there looks like what had been a campfire, but is now just a kind of a scorched bit of charcoal on the ground, and a forest fire, heading on up the mountain. And the most amazing thing that you see, and I will ask all of you to roll me a Constitution save when you see this. Well, all of you being Jaswin.
Oh, I don't have to roll one?
You don't.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Jaswin,
Wasted that 18.
up at the head of the fire, swooping back and forth, knocking trees down. You're not really sure what he's doing, is something you never, ever, ever thought you would see in real life because they're extinct.
Oh, but I so wanted to.
It's a giant. It's a giant. It's like when you see a whale and you go, "Oh, they're big," but then you see one in person, you're like, "Oh, they're big.
They're big. Yeah.
He's big." It's a
She
big
rolled a 23.
red dragon, and
She rolled a 23 and she's going, he's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Penny, what can
What
you do?
happened?
and Penny, it doesn't seem to faze you for some reason, like it's normal somewhere in your brain.
It feels good.
We'll process later. Fire now.
Okay. How I need to get front of the fire. Can I get there?
Grab!
Grym, you hear a voice shouting your name back there.
Grym!
Wait, that's...
Two voices shouting your name.
Oh!
Has he done enough?
Huh?
Has he knocked enough trees down that it's going to help?
Roll me again. This time without disadvantage, but just a normal roll.
Okay.
That dexterity check.
Come on.
Come on, dexterity.
14.
Okay, nah. Partially, but still not enough. It's still gonna spread. But you heard two voices call your name back behind you.
Without thinking, Grym will turn his head and go, "Hold on!"
And you see, as you look over there, Jasmine and Penny also out of the box, looking at you with wide
Grym!
eyes.
I'm pointing at you. Grym! Grym!
Anyway, you need to grab Penny and go up ahead. She can stop the fire.
Jasmine's smiling. Like she's
Like so
she's
happy.
just like, yeah, this is she's fangirling. Are you kidding me?
Like,
Grim freezes for a second, like,
Yeah.
and then he
You're
realizes
gonna
the
have to use
fire
it
is
with her,
coming.
buddy.
Oh.
He's like, oh,
No, we still need you in form. Pick up a Penny. Go over her in the front of the fire, and we're gonna deal with emotions later.
he flies over to the clearing.
Okay.
Grym, Grym, Grym. Are you gonna pick me up in your claws? Penny's
No.
just like,
Grab the rope.
Yeah, there's still
He'll-
rope around him.
Have the rope still.
There's like a harness of rope around him.
okay, she'll try.
You have 2 arms now. You can actually grab it.
It's easier.
Are you good?
Am I good? Should I roll?
I'll-
Once he takes
Yeah, I'll
off.
go and-
Oh, you're gonna help? Okay.
Yeah, I can help because I know how that harness works, so I can
Thank you.
wrap her up real fast.
All right. And at that time, the fire's gone another 50 feet. 100
Okay.
feet.
And okay. And flies over the fire and then comes around to where it's heading. Okay, do what you need to do. I'll get as low as I can.
Okay. I'm going to cast at. Hold on.
And he'll kind of bank
All right.
the fire so that she can see it.
I'm going to cast at using the ring that I have on my head at 5th level, Wall of Stone,
Okay.
to just kind of try and cut it off.
How long of a wall does it give?
I'm trying to figure that out. Sorry. It's
It should say it in the description.
I think it said 120 feet. Hold on, let me make sure that that's correct. The wall cuts through a creature's face and then appears a group of motion. Wall of solid stone springs into existence at a point you choose within range. The wall is 6 inches thick and is composed of 10-foot by 10-foot panels, but it doesn't say how many panels.
10 foot by 10 feet. That's 10 by 10.
Yeah, but it says panels, and it doesn't say if it's just one panel or if it's. You can create 10-foot by 20-foot panels that are only 3 inches thick if I want them to be longer. Okay, so I guess I'll just use that once to go to the place that's the farthest, where it's going the fastest and it's farthest ahead,
Okay.
to cut it off
All right.
if I can.
All right. You put down the wall. How high is it? Just 10 feet?
20. It can
20
be 10
feet.
by 20.
Okay,
Yeah.
20 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
That won't stop fire from the tops of the highest trees.
Yeah.
But it might slow it down enough to where Grym can do something now too.
Yeah.
Grym, a big wall of stone appears along there. At least it doesn't take the whole front of the fire, but the worst part it does get. You can see that it's not going to stop the fire for very long. As the fire goes up the trees, it's going to jump. But for a moment, it's busy going up the trees instead of forward.
Okay. Grim will try to grab a tree and uproot it so that he can fly over where the wall is and just smack the trees that are burning upwards away from the wall.
Okay. So pushing them back and stuff. And
So that when the fire does reach that, it's going the wrong way.
right.
While
Yeah.
he's flying over, if there's any other ones or any more fire that's still going, while he's flying over after he grabbed the other tree, can I cast another spell?
Absolutely.
Sweet. I will cast Create Water at 3rd level, which is 30 gallons of water.
I mean, that's a lot of water. But
Yeah, it won't do the whole fire, but it might do
Yeah, just
the
pieces.
advancing front.
Yeah. I figure we can just do pieces at a time and then get to all of it if we can, hopefully.
Okay. So you manage to cast create water, and it gets the bit that the wall hasn't got, and you manage to once again slow the fire down. And you get the understanding that with just that much water, it's not going to stop it, but it
Yeah.
is slowing it for a second, which gives you time to do something else.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you do anything, Grym?
Grym will continue with his old strategy.
Okay, of knocking the trees back to create a break.
Now that he's got a little bit of time, he's gonna try to work harder and create a bigger swath.
Okay, roll me a dexterity check with advantage this time.
Ah. Okay, now that is a 19 on the die, so 20.
All right, so there we go. You managed to push, it's like a huge flash of his wings and push with his legs, and it's like you guys at the camp, back in the clearing and stuff, it's like the forest is coming towards you for a second on that one side as he knocks so many of the trees back towards you, back into the flame so that they are consumed,
Whoa.
thereby creating a fire break, which does indeed begin to slow the fire. To stop it won't, just like with regular firefighting, it won't stop it right away, but once again it's slowed even more, which means you could put more water on it. You could just let it burn itself out in that area, maybe do the sides so it can't go to the sides. You have
All right.
options now.
Sweet. I'm going to the next farthest, or just like start kind of picking it off. I can use a cantrip called Druidcraft to snuff out a small campfire-sized fire, and I can do that as many times as I want.
Okay.
So just like
Just
Yeah. Poof, 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 poof. This is going to take a while. So back while you see this happening, Orkilia and Jasmine, what are you doing?
Can I see Penny doing this like poof 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 poof?
Yeah, if you're watching her.
Oh yeah, like a hawk.
I mean, it's hard to ignore the dragon over there.
So from Orkilia's point of view, Penny's just doing this and little fire is going out. So she just starts going like, what is she even doing? Mechanically what's happening is prestidigitation. She's doing exactly the same thing. She just doesn't know.
That's what's going on. Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
She's just copying Penny.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yay, Penny's
I've been trying to figure out how I could like establish that without
There you go. Without knowing that you're doing
Perfect.
magic. And Jasmine, do you do anything? Or are you just going, it's a dragon?
Well, she's fascinated, first of all, but yeah, she is sort of like listening to Orkilia talk about what Penny's doing, and then she's watching Orkilia do this thing with her hands, and I'm like, you're doing a little magic there yourself. I'm not sure what that is, though. Oh, wait a minute. It's a spell.
Yeah, no, Penny's doing it. I'm just copying her. Like it looks weird. It's kind of funny. And also I'm really proud of her for having two hands now. So
that is a very good thing. It's helpful for what she's doing now, especially.
Absolutely. Also, are you okay? You look a little dazed.
I'm fine. I haven't seen a dragon ever, or thought I ever would, and it's probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened in my life.
Oh yeah, the first time around is real. It's a lot. Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
I have a little bit of that kind of heritage in my background, a little bit, but it's not fire, it's electricity, as I think you might have seen before.
Dragon heritage?
Yes.
Dope! Oh man, you
Way back.
You and Grym are gonna have so much to talk about if we survive a bunch of fucking fire.
Yeah. Yes. Which how in the world did that happen in the first place?
It's some things just happen. Some things just aren't thought all the way through, and they happen, and we don't blame people.
He blew on the wood, didn't he?
You carried that
Okay.
conclusion all by yourself.
Okay. Yeah, it's. I gather it would be a little hard to pull his punches. Yeah.
We've learned that. That is a lesson we have learned today. But in the meantime, maybe so we've got a lot of things hunting us right now, and I think it would really be a bad idea if the world knew that dragons were still around. So that's kind of why we've been keeping this a little hush hush. This was an emergency. Also, given what we know about Aramiel and what we don't know about Cross, maybe we just don't talk about it in front of them.
It's up to Grym to tell that story, not me.
That was kind of where I started. Didn't
I'm
quite end, but I started there. Yeah. So they're not bad guys. I just think that they are influenced by a bad.
There's a lot of things going on in
Oh, yeah.
the world right now that are, well, it's difficult to tell which sides are which.
You know, that's valid. In the meantime, we're just trying to save components and the green light, and now we've started a fire, which kind of defeats the purpose of trying to end the green light in the first place. We've just started another problem.
Well, hopefully, it looks like the two of them are taking care of this particular problem, so...
I hope so. We tried one thing. It kind of worked. But we needed backup.
Tanya, we're not hearing you.
Sorry.
There you are.
Penny,
Yeah, as you say that, you realize that the two of them, have the fire nearly out. It's it's going to take a little while longer, but it's going. You guys are going to beat this, you think?
Go Team Oldies.
Although it's left a nice black scar on the side of the mountain.
Did I break Chris?
Oldies.
You guys are the oldest members of the party.
oh,
It's true.
Ouch.
true, it is true. Hey,
Ouch.
Penny even looks it. At least you don't, so shut up.
Oh,
I stand what I've declared.
Okay.
He's young for a dragon.
So as that's happening and they're watching the fire get put out upstairs, we're going to go back downstairs to Cross.
We're going to the back.
In the box by myself, just having a go. Well, not by myself, but
Yeah.
having a good time.
Yep. So Cross, as you're standing there.
Ooh, there's a lot of
Yeah, sorry. We're going to have to be careful on this as we go back and forth. Ben, you're sitting there, you're with the child, and you're enjoying that, and you take the child over the food, and it's just, it feels good. It feels good. Just the simple joy on its face, and it's eating food, and then it touches its clothes, and then touches your clothes, and points at the wardrobe like it wants you to put something on too.
We're gonna come back in cross.
Oh my god, people are gonna come back and Cross is gonna be like in like some sort of like weird Hugh Hefner like robe, just looking like and just like sitting there. Or he's gonna pop out of the box wearing that stuff, and he's just gonna be like,
Oh
"The
no.
fuck did you guys do?" Like
The clothes don't come with you.
Wait, but does he know that? Because if he doesn't know that,
Okay, we shouldn't tell him.
As you're down there, and Stefan, the child is gesturing at the wardrobe, and do you go over and play dress up a little bit? Try put one of those soft robes on and stuff?
Cross looks around like he's still like he's like kind of like as anybody. He's got a reputation to maintain. And he's like obviously the only people there are like the other components, and like nobody else is there, so he's just like, okay. Like, he's like, well, no one else is here, so yeah, why not?
Okay. You go on over to the box and the wardrobe, and as you open it, and there's this beautiful robe in your favorite color, and it's the softest thing. You know how this works. And it's just so nice. But with it, there is a hat. And you didn't think about the hat. So clearly somebody else thought about the hat. But it looks like it's about your size, and the hat is very bright. Very bright yellow. And it has feathers on it. And a little bit of fur on one side, and pieces of like you're not even sure what on the other side. And Cross has gone to go get a hat, I have a feeling. And as you're doing that, the teenage elf, he's shouting he can't find his hat from the other room. Okay.
I found my hat.
All right. So we have a hat. But while you're doing that, Cross, and you're putting the hat on, and you've got the robe on, and the child laughs a little bit. Um, but the teenage elf comes over, and he's been pretty bereft to keep saying, "Oh yeah," and you don't know what that means. But he's dressed in some pretty wild clothing at this point that has a slight hint of like what Arkelia was wearing to it. And as you're just getting the, he's looking at you like maybe you'll play this game with him too. And he gestures at the box and at the wardrobe and closes it and opens it up, and he pulls out. You're not really sure what it's supposed to be, but what it looks like is a number of like dead animals tied together into a stole, but not like an actual like stole, but like who knows? It's like a nightmare, really. But and he holds it out to you to put on very hopefully. This poor scarred up teenager.
Okay, first of all, what's a stole? Oh, okay. So like the oh, I have. Gosh, I feel I have all of these things.
Yes, but we're not going to take the time to go get them right now.
What's on the chair next to me?
Okay.
But I don't know. Like I don't know. Cross is pretty used to I don't know. He's worn filthier things. Like so he's just like he's having a good time. He's like fuck it. He throws it on, and he's just having a good time.
And the teenager smiles at you and says, "Oh, oh." He has no tongue. He can't talk, but he's trying to say, "Roll me an insight check."
That is a 18 plus 7.
All right. With that, you were able to figure out that he's trying to say your name.
Oya is my name. He's just like
which is kind of funny, but also very sad.
It is.
The sound keeps cutting out, so at this moment I can't hear either one of you.
All right. I don't know what it's doing. All right. At this moment, he points at you and says, "Caw, caw," and then he points at himself and looks at you questioningly. And then he points at the other elf, the child who's standing there laughing at all of this. "Caw."
And so Cross is kind of like now he's a little bit more serious and take the hat off. And he's just, because he obviously he's saying, like, he's pointing at me and saying my name, or at least what I've discerned is he's trying to say. And then he's pointing at himself and not saying anything, and pointing at the child and not saying anything. And so, like, I guess the best thing I can assume is that they don't have names.
Well,
or maybe he wants me to give them a name, and so maybe he crosses like, do you not have a name? Is it Cross? It's because neither of them can speak, so it's like maybe they understand. Do you have a name, Cross? Do you
something you realize, because you haven't really seen a lot of components before, but the ones that you've hunted that have escaped. But you do know that most of them don't have names. If they were raised in captivity, they have the numbers that they're assigned, but that's all. And all elves were raised in captivity.
That helps. Kind of remembers that, and he's just like, God, you don't have any names. And he's like, looks at the teenager, because the teenager's obviously old enough, for some things, and he goes, kind of like, what's your favorite like thing? Like, he's just like points around the room, like almost kind of like gesturing, like Cross, what do you want your name to be? Kind of like an idea or a thing or a name, because he could come up with a name or something from something, but he doesn't want to just like give him a name unless that's something that they want. But I mean, like, that'd be interesting.
Okay, well, I rolled a 2 for the teenager, and so he's not really quite comprehending the question. I mean, because he's experienced so little in his life, there's not really anything that he knows that he likes, except now dressing up and food, these brand new things. So he's just looking, and the longer that you pause, the more that you question, the more kind of downcast he looks, and finally he reaches and he goes and closes the wardrobe and pulls it open opens out some more clothes. Like, fine, you don't, that's too much.
What is, so I wish if I had I don't have my character sheet. If you could look at it, what's the other language that I know?
Give me one moment.
I think it's Orcish, but
yes, it is Orcish.
What seems to be his favorite item of clothing that he's having fun with?
It definitely seems to be the harness that Orcelia put on him.
What's the orc word for harness?
Orcelia, what's the orc word for harness?
The word I literally just said was "you fucker," but I was muted, so nobody heard. What's the orc word for harness? Neskra.
So say that again.
Neskra. Neskra. Neskra.
Neskra. So he's going to Cross is gonna stand up and walk over, and he's going to kind of like get the kid's attention. He's going to point to himself, and he's going to be Cross. He points at both him and the harness kind of at the same time. Not that he thinks he's going to understand it, but he's going to point at him and he's going to say, Neskra. Cross. Neskra.
The teenager looks at you and points at you and "Huh? Eka," and points at the child. "Huh? Neka?"
What's the Orcish word for hazel?
Zella.
You're gonna need to say that. Sorry, say that one more time.
Zella. Zelah.
So then Cross points at the child and goes, Zella.
The teenager
turns to the child, so excited. I go, "Huh? Eka? Ah!" And the child's looking at the teenager like, "What the hell?" And he turns to you and is looking at you, the child is. Like, it's not quite sure what's going on here.
So Cross walks over and picks up the child and kind of like, well, holding him kind of does the same thing, like points at himself. Cross. And then kind of takes the child's hand and like points it at him, like puts it at him. Zella. Cross. Zella.
The child looks back and forth for a moment as you're doing that. And by about the third time that you do it, the child, for the very first time, day of firsts, goes, "Cross. Zadna." And that's where we'll leave it and go back upstairs.
Orkila's gonna be so pissed when she finds out Cross named her baby boy.
Well, you know,
so
she could
mad.
rename him. She could rename him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right.
Right.
And back out there, it's been probably a good 45 minutes to an hour, but you guys finally get the fire all the way out. There's a scar of burned and open brush there that goes probably a good 150 feet,
Okay.
but you got it out. And there's now a wall sitting in the middle of the forest. It will go away in a minute, but, you know, not yet.
It'll go in a while. Penny's, after the fire is finally out, the last thing she's going to do is druidcraft one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And make, if there's a seed anywhere on the ground that she can find that wasn't destroyed, she's gonna plant it and then make it bloom.
Okay.
Or not bloom, but like bud a little bit.
Okay, roll me a perception check to see if you can find a seed.
Planting in scorched earth. How very appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 19.
All right. You do. You find an acorn.
Woohoo! An acorn. And she's gonna like bury a little bit in the thing, and then.
And Penny. As you hold that acorn, you can hear it in there.
The acorn?
Yeah, you can hear it in there. Its little spirit in there. It's like sleeping. It's ready to grow. It's like a baby in its cradle.
Aww. Little one. Gonna put it in the dirt.
You guys are all watching Penny do this.
Cover it a little bit. You will be happy. And then she's gonna put her hands just over it, over where she buried it. And when she removes her hands, there will be a little green bud, like coming out of the dirt where the acorn was placed.
Okay.
Well,
And you
that's
see
great. Penny
she-
can replant the entire forest.
It takes
Magic
forever.
magic can be beautiful.
Yeah. In the meantime, Grym, because
She just gets right up to his
I'm
face,
tired.
puts her finger like right on his nose, his big ass nose.
He leans down. He's still got like one little sapling in his hand that he was using to like.
knock things over.
Yeah.
no more giant fire.
I didn't mean to make a giant fire.
Remember that time that I was like, no, let's half the fire because stuff might catch on fire, and you went, yeah, sure, I got this. You took a giant breath and then everything was on fire, and now people know who you are.
That is your fault.
Grym?
Oh,
You let
I'm backing away. Jasmine's backing away. Are you kidding me?
Oh. Yeah, Jasmine did a good because nobody in this group has pissed off the orc yet.
Not fully. They've done it some, but not fully.
Yeah, that pissed her off.
Grim's a little pissed off too.
No fighting.
Penny, stay out of this.
No.
I thought I was supposed to remain a secret.
You
he
were until you
tosses
almost
the
blew
tree.
down an entire fucking village.
He kind of,
Up for it. You almost burned down the entire fucking forest.
you know, kind of like,
Gotten everybody. Nothing would have happened, and the entire forest would have been gone.
And I need all of you to roll me a Constitution save.
all of us.
All of you who are out of the box.
15.
Wasn't even much better.
Oh. Oh my goodness. I rolled a natural 20.
Nice.
I rolled it.
That's 26, by the way.
12 plus 3, 15.
Okay. What did you roll, Ellie?
10.
10. All right. Well, Jasmine, here's what you see. All of a sudden, as they're arguing and all of you are focused on this confrontation that could be really dangerous coming up ahead of you between the dragon, angry dragon, and an angry orc. Now there's a fight you never thought you'd see, right? All of a sudden, little tiny arrows go, and those three, even the dragon, fall asleep.
I can't.
Oh, that's not good. That's
Well,
really...
maybe asleep is the wrong word. They fall
Wait.
to the ground paralyzed.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Just those two?
All three of you, except for Jasmine.
I
And
thought-
the arrows hit you, Jasmine, but for some reason, you managed to notice them in time to get them off before they actually paralyzed you. They're little. What the hell?
Okay. She kind of like, look, we did not mean to cause any trouble here. What is... we,
We certainly didn't mean
You turn and
we did not mean to, really.
Okay, you turn and you look for where the arrows came from.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me an insight or a perception check.
Perception. Let's see. Yeah, I'm riding the bell curve here. That would be a 5.
Okay.
I'm
can't-
skiing squat.
Yeah, you don't see that at all. But more arrows come out of the trees that are still standing,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll need to roll me another Constitution save.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know
It's like
if
a
this is
little
gonna
flurry
work.
of arrows.
16.
Okay. So you do start to feel paralysis gripping you. All of the rest of you can see and hear this as you're falling on the ground. You can't turn, you can't anything, and you do that too. But as you fall, Jasmine, with the 16, you manage to fight it off just long enough to turn your head and see what's coming before you fall to the ground and they're out of your view. And you've read about them in books, you've never seen one. Gnomes, actually. Uh, Small, except these ones don't look like what the book said they should look like. They look like they're wearing furs and animal claws, and their faces are painted in strange colors, and or at least that one was.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fall to the ground paralyzed.
Oh, wonderful.
Now we'll go back down
Or-
into the box.
Into the box, into the box.
Into the box.
Cross is just looking fabulous in the box with his furs and his hat.
Cross does indeed look fabulous as he's down in the box. You and the teenager and the child are having the best game of dress up you've ever had. You're actually having the only game of dress up you've ever had, but it's also the best. Auntie Mog has even come out from under the table, clearly slightly inebriated, and has climbed up onto one of the couches and is watching and running commentary on each of your outfits and laughing. Really, the only kind of dour thing here is the dead body of the older elf, which has been carefully laid out on a couch. Um, but the rest of it's just kind of such a breath of like fresh air. There's your heart, is growing 10 sizes that day. Um, and you haven't had this before. It feels weird, but it also feels good. And they're laughing with you, and it's making you laugh. And the child at this moment is prancing around in what looks like probably like a zebra striped onesie with, antlers on its head and just being silly and pretending and constantly saying now the two words that it knows, Cross and Zella. Like it just can't stop saying that. Like it's so excited. It's got words. It's got names. Um, and the teenager keeps going, trying to say his words too, for a little bit until he realizes that he gets just sucked up into the clothes and the fun. And at one point, he actually had pulled out what looked like a knife, a dagger. Like you'd probably seen one in the alchemages when he's getting experimented on or whatever. But you had gently taken that away from him and like, yeah, no, not right now, kind of a thing. But it brings up some questions and stuff as they're looking at you and playing with you and stuff. Now that you've named them, what does that mean?
We're just gonna skip the whole "it called me dad." Like we're not even gonna touch that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's like a he's not I think he hasn't really like that hasn't really sunk in yet. I think he kind of like heard him say it and was kind of just like kind of almost was like, nope, not dealing with that right now. Like just, I don't think he's fully because that's a lot to unpack. That I think he's just living in the moment right now and trying not to think. He's having a good time, but I think at this point I feel like I'm thinking like, where is everybody else? Like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, like you kind of heard like Orkelia being a little bit distressed when she came in, but he didn't really think anything of it. But it's been a bit. Like they've been having a good time, and he's just like, is the box? Is it because remember like it changes color, so you kind of know when the box is open or not. Is it still open?
It is indeed. Because nobody said they closed it.
Yeah. because Corkelia said she put it on the ground and opened it, went into it, came out. So I was wondering if it was still open.
Oh no, she definitely did not close it.
Yeah. Cross is going to this all kind of just happens, and he's just like, what? And he kind of like stops for a second, and he kind of goes like kneels down to the child, and he's just like, look, I'm gonna go look for the others, all right? And he kind of like gets the teenager and the smaller one together, and he's just like, and he looks up at the big one, and I remember Zella, but I forget his name already. What is his name? Orkelia, do you remember?
Sorry, I was muted. Nesek.
Nesak.
Yeah, Nesek.
Doesn't sound right.
I'll say it
Damn it,
anyway, and
now
then I will watch back and then change it if we need to.
I know, now I'm gonna have to like listen back to make sure I get the name correctly. All right, but he looks at him and he says his name, and then he says the child's name. He says Zella, and he's just like, his name, and he's like, you watch Zella, and he like kind of like does the eye thing and like points at the child, and he's just like, I'll be back. And he kind of like points up. He's like, I'm going to go up, and he points up at the smoke, and he's like, you and Zella here, stay. And does he look like he understands any of that? Oh, also, I think he's gonna leave this on because he's not even thinking. I think that's more comical. He's not even gonna realize he's still wearing all this.
Okay, I rolled a 1 for his comprehension. So
Damn
not
it.
quite, but I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They're in a box.
This is true. Cross can close the box when he gets out, and like, it's where are they gonna go? They got food. They have everything. So he's just like, God, I wish you could understand. Yeah, never mind. And he just puts the child in his arms, and then he reaches up and touches the smoke.
All right.
Or he has a name now. What, I thought it was the child always a he, or I thought he was a she?
It's a he.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So I go out of the box.
All right. When you get up, you go poof. You see a clearing. In the trees, you're clearly about halfway up the mountains. If you could mute yourself, we're getting a little bit of feedback. On one side, it's clear that there's been a very bright fire that has gone through one side of the clearing off up the mountain a little ways. But it's currently out. There is a scattering of very small arrows, almost like blow darts or something, but arrow-shaped, all over the ground of this clearing. And there is no sign of anybody, at least not openly. Roll me a survival check.
That's a 22.
Okay. You see the signs of 3 bodies and something very large having been dragged away out of here.
He's immediately going to obviously pick up the box, close it, put it in his, I don't know, what am I wearing right now? He didn't really change, so.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you leave the box, the clothing from the box stays in there. Anything external, the food, the clothing. So currently, Cross is naked.
Like, seriously?
Unless you left your small clothes on while you were dressed.
I don't think.
You saw it happen to Jaswin.
Wait, what?
Yep. Jasmine came out of the box naked once too.
I don't think I was there for that. Or I was still in the box or something. I did not witness that, or did not, or I blocked it out of my memory. I don't know.
That's what every woman wants to hear. Yeah.
Woof, man.
Maybe he was just so embarrassed. Like, I honestly don't remember that happening.
Just keep digging. Just keep digging. Sooner or later, we'll get to the other side of the earth.
I'm
It's
gonna
fine.
dig my hole. Yeah, it's okay. Just let me do it. All right. Well, I feel like that's the first thing he would notice. He's then going to be like, well, that's interesting. And he's going to put the box back on the ground and go back in the box.
All right. You put the box down, you open up the thing, and you go back into the box. And roll me. Well, actually, I rolled theirs. Let's see about yours. Roll me a luck check. Or actually, I'm going to roll the check. Tell me high or low. Okay, I rolled a 2 this time. So, you actually notice as the color of the thing starts to change, and you have a brief second with your very fast reflexes to head back out of the box.
And I'm still naked.
Well, you may have gotten your one pants on or something.
Okay. I feel like the first, if he sees that, how far away is my weapon?
Well, if you took them off over by the wardrobe, it's across the room.
Well, if I'm by my clothes, like that would be the first. He's like, fuck pants, fuck whatever. He needs his weapon. He needs his weapon.
Okay, roll me a dexterity check with disadvantage to see if you can get your weapon and get out of the box before it gets closed. Because it's going. That's how much time you have.
It's a 19 and a 9 on the dice, so I have to take the 9, but that's 9 plus 13.
Okay, like I said, Cross is very fast. If anybody can do it, it would be him, and you do. You managed to grab which weapon? You get one weapon? Would it be your bow or your knife?
The bow, because that's what he's best with.
Right, you grasp the bow and you get out. Let's see if you got any clothes on at all. Oh, you got a 19. You have pants on. Because, I mean, that's what you put on first.
Thank
and
God.
you managed to get out of the box just as the lid...
He's like holding his pants. I feel like I need to cosplay this. I need to just do like cross like with a crossbow and pants just like halfway on, like coming out of a box.
Yeah, and when you come out of the box, as it's and it closes, it clips, you get the feeling that you barely made it. In fact, you can feel it almost trying to suck you back in as you like lunge forward at the last second to get out of the box. And you are surrounded. You are surrounded by very small barbarians, gnome barbarians. And their faces are tattooed, and they have teeth and claws and skulls hanging off them, and they have little spears and little bows. And you'll notice the one that comes closest to you as you pop out of the box and are like, whoa! The one that's closest to the box, and actually the one that closed the box, as he grimaces at you, their teeth are filed. Yes, are now surrounded by cannibal barbarian gnomes. And now we're going to go back to the rest of the party to get them caught up to where you are now.
Fun times.
Oh, good.
Are we not mostly knocked out?
You're paralyzed, not knocked out. There's a difference.
Oh, great.
So it's a lot like a scene from Gulliver's Travels, as you guys fall to the ground, and you are surrounded by probably 100 of these little people, these gnomes that come around, and they're speaking in a language that none of you know, none of you speak, and they're growling and they're guttural. And one of them, Orkilia, he sticks his face close to yours and goes, ah, and you'll notice his teeth are filed into points. And he reaches over and he grabs the top of your arm and goes like this. And then he turns to the other and says, "Missing them."
Yeah, I make some real good meat.
Okay, and they you're not quite sure how they do it, but it's like they've had practice with this, which is kind of unnerving all by itself. But they put these like little sticks that they have underneath you and they begin to roll you away out of the camp. Except for you, Grym. They try and you are just I mean, they're as big as like one of your scales, you know.
Yeah.
And so this is an issue, really. And so they're like, it's a lot like, you know, if you've seen Ewoks, you know, arguing in the thing. Only much more dangerous looking. Even for as small as they are, they're actually really kind of terrifying. Um, and poking at you, rolling you guys off into the forest, into the darkness under the trees, except for Grym, who they're like, they try and they just can't even do it at all. Hang on. Until they finally call one over, and the one comes over and he's wearing a rabbit skull on his head with little tiny antlers attached to it and a necklace of human ears around his thing. And he comes and and his face is painted more than any of them. The amount of swirls on it is really kind of almost hypnotic with the way that the painting or the tattooing or whatever that is has given them. And he comes over and he looks at you. And he slams his little staff on the ground and says, and he hisses at you. And suddenly you feel paralyzed, very light, like a feather. And the gnomes pick you up and they float you off. And they take you guys through the trees at a pretty good clip for such small creatures, really, because they're like rolling, you know, running around, putting the sticks and rolling it, you know, rolling you through the woods. And then you get to kind of a rock face in the side of the mountain. And there's nothing there but the little man with the feathers and the stuff. There's one that seems to be the one that giving all the orders, the chief, and he's actually not wearing any bone at all, or feathers or anything like that. In fact, he's barely clothed. He's wearing like a loincloth, but he's covered in scars, but they're not component scars. These are the scars of battle. And he is giving everybody orders except for the one with the staff. The one with the staff comes up to the rock and he once again says something. And he touches the rock with his staff and it rolls off to the side. And it's big enough for the three of you to get pushed through, but not Grym. And you get pushed into the darkness and away from the light. Except for Grym, who is out here, and they're talking and they're chattering and they're trying to, and they start much like Gulliver's Travels, tying you as best they can to the forest floor with ropes and vines and everything, and continually poking you with the toxins and stuff, because you'll note that for you, Grym, it starts wearing off faster, and then so they have to keep poking you, and so they leave you tied up to the forest floor as the other three of you are dragged off into darkness. And that is where we're going to end the game tonight. the prisoner of gnome barbarians.
Well, that's an unpleasant ending.
You kept saying Gulliver's Travels, and all I could think of was Evil Dead. I'm sorry.
You know what? That counts too.
Like,
Yeah, well, and it's actually probably more like that, like Ash's little terrible spirit things. So we have Cross in Pants facing down his own army of gnomes. We have 3 of you carried off into the darkness. 1 of you tied to the forest floor. We'll see how well that does for them. And that's where we'll start it all again next week. You guys get to find the adventures in the cannibal gnome camp.
are they really cannibals though? Because I feel like cannibal is you eat your own species. We are a different species.
Yeah, are
Semantics.
they just meat eating gnomes then?
You will have,
You know,
No.
I
to
really,
see.
really hope you're right. I really do.
I hope they start eating each other, and then
Really?
we're fine.
They have
you know,
human ears.
We're
They
just
have
fine.
human ears.
Just remember, I'm a horror writer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here for it.
Thanks
And
for
on that
reminder,
note-
Tanya.
Good night, everybody.
Right on.
Night, everybody.
Night.